Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about negotiations and why negotiating is so much better than going to court. I'm going to lead you through some of my secrets and tips on how to best negotiate with your ex-spouse. When you are frustrated, particularly when going through a divorce, you think, I'm never going to get out of this. But trust me, things will eventually get better. We just have to negotiate for you and get you through to the fantastic life you deserve. Tip number 1. The most important tip I can give you that works the best is to know your spouse. You already know your spouse. You know what makes them react. You know what makes them calm. That's what you want to use. Think back to when you were together. You always negotiated with your spouse, even if it was for something as simple as going out for dinner. Say you wanted to go for Chinese dinner and you really didn't want to go for that Thai food. You'd come home and maybe you'd say, honey, where do you want to go tonight? We can either go for Chinese, or we could go for pizza, or we could go for sushi. And that was the way you knew that he would pick one of them and not one you really didn't want. You also know what really makes your spouse aggravated. You don't want to go near those buttons, because the bottom line is you want to have your ex-spouse calm so that in the end, you're more likely to get what you want. So this is your homework for today. Write down what you know pushes your spouse's buttons and what doesn't push your spouse's buttons, because that's what you're going to want to use effectively to negotiate the best settlement for yourself. You know 90% of the cases settle. That's the great news, because you don't want to go to court if you don't have to. Who wants someone else settling this case for you? It's best if you can settle it for yourself. Tip number 2. When you negotiate, you never want to start with the bottom line. A lot of people think, forget it, let's just go in with the bottom line. We don't want to waste time, we don't want to pay lawyers. Let's just jump in and tell my ex-spouse what your bottom line is. For instance, honey, I can afford $2,500 a month in spousal support, here it is. I'll write you a check, let's write an agreement and let's get out of here. Unfortunately, in my experience, such a tactic never works. Your ex-spouse doesn't want to go to court either. They don't want to pay for lawyers' fees, and they don't want to have the emotional baggage that comes along with going to court. So remember, bottom line, don't start with your bottom line. I really encourage you to try and settle with your ex. There are many reasons to settle. Number 1, psychologically, you want to get this done as quickly as possible. You don't want to draw out the process of going to court or before an arbitrator. It's very emotional and it takes a lot longer than you think. It's not like you see on TV. It also costs a lot of money to go through the process with lawyers and arbitrators. Finally, but more importantly to me, is the fact that the decision that a judge or arbitrator makes is not usually the decision that you think you want. As I said before, it's not a win-lose situation like on TV. It rarely ever comes out the way you want. So I really encourage you, do whatever you can to settle the issues with your ex-spouse.